Time to take that warp pipe to level 4-1. It's Jett Theory Radio. Live from the ATX, and welcome to Jett Theory Radio. This is episode 2, our continued discussion with the band Later Days. I'm David, but you may know me better as the one they call Jetter. Thank you for tuning in and giving us an ear as we continue our discussion, like I said, with Later Days. As always, the man to my left, Mr. Gail Murrin.
The Shady Justice. Jetter's voice of reason.
Oh, not my voice of reason. It's just the voices in your head that you're talking from.
Voice of reason.
Don't mind him. Gail's been drinking, and I know we talked about it during the first one, but I don't think we had an intro for the second half of the podcast.
No.
So what beverage were you again enjoying that evening?
It was Circle's Envy.
Their anniversary beer. I remember you
No.
pointed
They're
out to me.
having an anniversary.
They're
It was not
having
their
an anniversary
beer.
Oh, okay.
It's the amber beer in a green can.
Well, I guess with that ringing endorsement from you, I'll give it a try sometime. I don't know. Sometimes you like things that are just on a different taste level than me.
That's fine.
That's little differences like that. But before we continue our discussion here, let's just go ahead and continue the discussion with Later Days. Ladies and gentlemen, here you go.
Where do you want to go with Later Days?
In general?
Yeah.
I think that's such a fucking loaded statement. I think
it is.
I think the
That's
point
totally
is
a loaded statement. I agree. Where
Is
do
it
you
like-
personally in the band want to go?
Where? Here's
I don't like
where's your
that.
measurement of success? And this is actually more like because this is not your first band that a lot of you guys have been in.
Right.
I'm assuming that everybody this is
but
not.
there's
personal.
one I think the more interesting thing about Later Days is not where do I want to go with Later Days. I'm 29-year-old. I'm fucking the youngest dude in the band. I don't play music casually. I think it's kind of obvious why a lot of us play music. But I think the more interesting thing about Later Days is just the devil may care. You know, why is this band different? Why is this band more fun than any other band I've been in? Why, and I think it's when this band was started, it was started with me and Eric, who originally were going to sing, and around this time last year, and we just picked up things along the way. We set ridiculous goals that we just kind of said, fuck it, you know what I mean? And that's just been the kind of thing, like reaching these moments, reaching these little goals. It's like...
What's been some of the goals? Like, I assume an album.
The first it was like, hey, we're not a band, we're not doing anything, let's spend $4,000 on a full-length record when we don't even have any members. Or, it'd be cool to do this, it'd be cool to tour, okay, we're going to do it. It's like, you spend so much time planning things, you don't really need to. I was watching, it's odd because I was watching Deathly Hallows 2, the Harry Potter movie yesterday, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to go to the castle and we're going to take Hogwarts, we're going to take it back over. And I think it was Ron, he's like, why? He's like, we always make these plans, we go to these places, and everything gets crazy. So it's like, why spend so much time on it? It's like, this is my plan, this is my goal, and this is how we're going to reach it. So if you ask me, like, what is the goal for Later Days, it's like, it's just more so it's like, how can I make art sustainable? You know what I mean? Like, if this is my art, you don't go to a gallery to see a band. So it's like, my gallery is how can I get this music out to as many people? How can it play as many places? How can I have as much impact as humanly possible? And whatever that means is what the goal is. You know what I mean? So it's like, being so young, every band's first tour is momentous in the fact that you may find that you hate everybody in your band. You may find that you cannot get along with these people, and there's nothing you can do. It's over.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think along the way, we found out that we do really, care about each other, and this isn't just fun. And, that's kind of the next step, you know?
I mean, I see it like with the tattoos you guys all get.
Mhm.
Like when I saw that picture on Instagram, I thought, this is really awesome. Like you guys all are just like, you're in it to win it and just to keep it going.
Only way out in
How's that tattoo, Sam?
some more infected than others.
Oh,
One more infected than others.
it's that much more into your skin.
You see us as like a unit.
Mhm.
We're old enough to know what we want, and we're dumb enough to want to. You know, somebody said to me earlier today. I have a friend who's also a musician, and he was talking about. It's like I was talking about how his guy. He's like, so and so worked a lot of hours. They made a lot of money, and I was like, I don't really care about money. And he's like, I do. It allows me to do what I want to do. It allows me to play music. And I was like, the older I get, the more I realize that it's sacrifice more than money. Money helps. You definitely need the money, but it's sacrifice allows me to do what I want to do. Like, you know, like having that goal and not and having this like, you know, this identity and knowing who I am and knowing what I want and finding like-minded people. It's like, oh man, I don't think this person wants to tour. I guess we'll find out when I find out. I know where everybody in this band sits, and that's a very powerful thing. You know what I mean? So I'm rambling, but
No, it's fine.
but it's like sacrifice is the thing.
And I agree, but so you're a founder. So Matt, where do you feel? Where do you sit?
I'm a founder, but it's, you know,
As in-
equal. Everything is equal.
I agree.
Is there anything like fundamentally different, like your approach to music, your approach to this band, stuff like that? Or I'm assuming it's generally the same because everybody's got for the band to mesh the way you guys all are meshing and stuff like that. You guys all have to have that common, you know, this is what we want out of it. I mean, is it more the art for you than any kind of like really reaping a financial reward?
It's definitely the most serious band. You know, any other band that I've been in, it's, you know, done some small regional touring, but nobody has been as serious as this band. Everyone has their own, I guess you could say, gifts and talents aside from just being a musician. You know, some people are good at, you know, promotion or just, you know, being more of like Brendan. He's just a good speaker, a good front man. So everyone brings something good to the table that really just pushes this band forward, and to be part of it, I mean, it's been great so far.
A lot of just mutual respect and understanding of like the strengths and weaknesses of anybody in the band, where you just you divvy up the responsibilities. Hey, you're good at this, do this. You're good at that, do that.
It's not even divvying it up. I think we just fall into our roles. You know, it's everybody has a niche. You know what I mean?
I'm assuming then, like when it comes, how do you guys like? When I knew Eric was like putting together some songs and stuff beforehand, it seemed like he was putting like you and him would like work together, and I'd see like, you know, the result of that, like you guys combining and like structuring music that way. Is there ever a time you guys just all come together and just jam out, or is there a lot of more planning with the songs beforehand before it actually like goes forth?
You want to answer this?
No. Very little jamming.
A lot of it is honestly like the quest of like what Later Days is and Later Days music, and my approach to songwriting personally as kind of the more or less not trying to sound like douchey or like, you know, as like more so the principal songwriter in this band musically. It's like it's all just been a quest for better songwriting. My band could be awesome, my band could suck, but good songwriting is undeniable. You know what I mean? Like you think that Bye 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 is such a killer song because it's a killer song.
Poppy as fuck.
You can't say shit. Even if you were in middle school and you tried to talk shit because Jinkos were cool and you know, whatever. But it's like, you know, it's like, so it's like when this band started, it's like we didn't have a singer. So like, you know, some other people had to write lyrics, other people had to do stuff, and like, so for me, it's like how can I write better songs? And on the first record, it was just all about writing good songs. And on this record, it's about writing little things, sending it to Brendan, having him come up with a hook, and following his lead. So it's ever changing. It's like there's a lot of bands that can do a lot of great things, and I would love to do all those things, but it's like songwriting has always been a passion of mine. Songwriters have always been a thing I've been, you know, very interested in, and that's kind of what I'm always thinking about. I take very long breaks in between albums to just think.
Let all the just
to think about, listen to stuff that I love. You know, like there was a
question. So, from release to release,
yeah.
where do you feel is the appropriate time?
I'll get to that in a second. I think the thing that really opened my eyes to songwriting and that in general is I was listening to an interview with Billy Corgan where he was talking about the difference in Nirvana between Nevermind and the album that came out before it. And he was like, these guys discovered the Beatles and clearly took that, kind of structure to it. Yeah. And then he wrote Siamese Dream. You know what I mean? He took that same approach, and like those kinds of things have always, it's like it made sense to me. As far as like an album cycle appropriate, it's hard when you're starting out because it's like you may feel your body of work is really good, but if you're in an unsigned band, it's like you're never going to get the amount of time unless you take 3 to 4 years of touring really heavily to break that album. It's not like you're in like the musical machine that's going to, put out, Call Me Maybe, your first single, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or you know what I mean, though? It's like, so these, you just got to be happy with what you're doing, and you just need to do, it's like, I think 2 years for any band. I enjoy 2 years until it doesn't make sense. Like I like bands like Queens of the Stone Age that write different albums all the time. But then I also like bands like, I don't know, man. I like bands like Jimmy Eat World, that don't really do that. You know what I mean? It's like, so 2 years, when you're a new band, I think 2 years is good. You got Dance Gavin Dance that puts out a new album every fucking year. You know what I mean? They're all awesome.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you'd like the more, like, there's a lot of investing that you like taking. You get a lot of time and just like, not really meticulous planning, because I think you offer enough like a variety where like if something spontaneously happened, you're cool with it and you can run with it. But it seems like it's a lot more time of like, I want to really make sure this matures the way it should be.
Yeah, and I think in the band, like our band is in that little spot right now where it's like we've accomplished all the goals that we had set, and now we need to figure out what the next set are. And like what's good about putting out a single and trying to get that. It's like, I think the goal of the band now is, like I said before, it's
dominate the world.
To get to that some sort of sustainability, or dominate the world, as my friend said.
I mean, world domination is always in the cards every day we go out into the world. If it's not for anybody else, I don't know.
It's a pinky in the brain kind of life, man.
So, like when you were saying what you were saying, there were a few things that it was really reminding me of. I listened to this interview that Metallica had, and it was a band like I really enjoyed. Like for years, I had the opinion of they blew up, they sold out, and Metallica, yeah, and they just didn't really. They went away from what they were. They had a lot of years in between albums to like try to get something together and stuff like that. But then during this interview, they talked about they do well themselves financially, but every amount of profit they get, they reinvest into the band and just to keep getting it going, to blowing it up and stuff like that. I'd assume, but I just want to like check, is that something the entire band's down with? Like just
reinvesting?
Reinvesting in the band?
We didn't take a single dollar out of what we made on tour. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm assuming that will go to something else. So yeah, I mean, you can't really. It's like if I were to pay myself, then I would just have to put more money into the band. That money would then go back into the band.
Has anybody here ever made money from a band?
Man, I get those 50-cent checks. You know what I'm saying? I've taken home some money.
Here gets a lot of money.
Come up here. Yeah.
Can you?
Because I want to I want to find out a little bit about measurement of success and when it comes to like making money.
So talk about where you hit that point where you were making money off of that.
Yeah.
It's actually a lie. I never did really. No. That's the irony. That's the irony. No, like there was a short time where like my rent was paid and my bills were paid, but I was on tour like 8 months out of the year. So it was kind of, you had to do what you had to do. So
what did being on 8 months out of the year feel like?
It was okay, like money wise, because you had like a per diem, so you had like a little bit of money every day, and you had like a buyout or food.
Were you
at the club?
At the time?
Some of it, some not. Some yes.
So
some
how was that strain on you? Like how was that strain on you personally?
Man, yeah, having to like be like, hey, we had like a few bad shows. Can you pay for rent? Never a fun conversation to have, especially when you're never home. So, that's a little fun.
Okay.
But it's what you sign up for.
Yep.
That's what you sign up for.
So if some record company came around, would there be a price point that you guys would sign with the major label, or do you like the building that you're doing now for everything?
There would be a definite price point for me, for sure. Like, I've kind of had sort of a little bit of experience.
So you
on
know
that.
your security points.
Definitely. I would need to know I have like 100% tour support. Like, if my transmission goes, I need to know that you'll be able to like take care of, whether. And I don't want to have to do it myself with AAA, or like I need to know that I can make one phone call and let it all be okay. It was never that way. So
see, like one thing I found out in Austin that how they treat the creative community here in town is offering health insurance.
Sure.
And that's something
it's fantastic.
I would never think that like a city would offer that.
Do they
to
offer? Or is it a
I swear to God,
Do any of you use that?
I have before. Yes, I have before.
Okay,
Dave has
Is it good?
Dave has it.
Is
Yeah.
it good?
Dave gets
Yeah.
dental.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
They
like
offer-
it's like a charge card, basically.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, the last couple of years they've just basically helped you like enroll in Obamacare, and they will actually pay for your monthly payments.
So it's all
Not a bad
through
deal.
Obamacare then?
Well, it is now, but they assign you somebody that like will help you that whole process, and then they'll actually end up fronting the bill as well. So like 150, 140, 170 ish a month.
That's not too
It's
bad.
actually not bad
It's not
at
bad
all.
Yeah.
Dental, vision.
And it doesn't have to be tied to a job or anything because it's just
You have to like prove that you're like a working musician. So with flyers, which is pretty easy to prove. I don't really know what their stipulations
I've
are,
seen the
but like,
application. It's actually
yeah. I
it's
mean,
not
for me, it
hard
was
to prove.
not really hard. I mean, I'm playing three
I mean,
bands,
you have to
so
prove that free venues
it's
that
fine.
played. I mean,
Oh,
for guys like you have played plenty. I mean, that's
sure, you could say you went on tour for 10 days and be like, oh, you're clearly like, doing something. So,
Yeah.
see, that's where I don't get like they say that it's a shrinking like creative community here in Austin because if you have benefits more or less like that are going to take care of that one aspect, a very important one.
we're it though. Like nobody else has. It's really crazy. I don't know. There's just too many of us, man. Too many of us in the band. Too many of us trying to compete.
How many for even the peanut gallery back there,
Hey!
including the one on his phone.
Hey!
How many of you guys came to Austin specifically for the music scene to try to make it here?
To Austin and not play music.
I did.
Came to Austin for a job. I was not a musician.
I was gonna go back to school.
I moved here in 2000 with my high school band from San Angelo, Texas. We won like a songwriting contest and won like 5 figures.
6 figures.
5 figures. Five.
Mm-hmm.
Between the three pieces, pretty good. So I got like a large sum of money and was like, I want to leave. I want to quit college and move up here.
Mm-hmm.
I moved here and that was that. Instantly met like everybody, thrown into the scene, playing great shows. And
You said you.
the best.
Actually, I moved here to mainly focus on music. From a small town in Kentucky, and there's not a lot going on.
Lexington?
From Lexington? No, not quite.
Everybody thinks I'm from Lexington.
Everybody thinks I'm from Lexington. No, it's a super small town. I just felt it was time to leave and come here. So quit the job I was at for like 5 years, cashed in my 401k, and just paid off my car and just
Giving it a go.
I packed everything I could fit in my car, strapped a mattress on top of it, and just drove.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maddie!
You still have the mattress?
Yes.
He's got a mat.
It's a very
Mattress.
comfortable mattress.
Hey, if it's comfy, keep it around. Why not?
Yeah.
Um,
All the ladies from Lexington, listen up.
It was an interesting trip because it was wrapped in this gray tarp, so it looked like I was smuggling this big brick of drugs on top of my car.
what kind of car were you driving? Where you left this?
At the time, it was a Scion XB,
Oh, that's
so it fit perfectly. Like it was,
Yeah.
it fit a full size mattress just perfectly.
See, I'd be afraid that it would just like the mattress, the wind would catch underneath the mattress and just.
Oh, it was strapped very well.
Very well.
That's happened to me before.
that has happened to me before as
I
well.
hit Dallas,
On
and the
1v3.
tarp had ripped.
Yeah.
Finally, the wind got to
The
it,
front of it
and it
goes,
just
"Woo!"
ripped it
and
apart somehow.
I just
and
drove. I could drive.
Yeah.
flapping around, and I just kind of duct taped it together to get from Dallas to Austin.
Mhm. There's an interview, weirdly enough, I heard with Moby.
Okay.
And he put music into perspective for me that I want to get a musician's opinion on to see if this makes sense or not.
Okay.
The idea is that music is something really weird because it's not a physical object.
Right.
You're creating something in the air. You're creating vibrations in the air.
It's physical in the sense that we can perceive it with our physical senses, which is our audible system. So if we're able to, our eardrum is able to perceive the vibrations, then it's physical in that sense. It's not tangible in the sense of this is a business outcome, which we print it on a chart and we say this is the profit margin. But it's definitely physical in the sense that there is something happening that requires one of our senses to recognize it. And the subjectivity that happens there is that that's the thing about art is you can't say is it's good or it's bad. You can say I like it or I don't like it, and that's
There
it.
is a tangible substance at the end. That's why you make the
Sure, and yeah, so that's exactly what I'm saying. Is like you absolutely can. There is a tangible, the CD. Physically, sure, that's a thing that you can hold. All right, and then you put it in your CD player, and then it plays music. You can hear that, and that's a thing that you can hear. So even though you can't touch something, doesn't mean it's not tangible. If you can see, hear, touch, smell, feel something, it's tangible. If you can perceive anything with any of the senses, it's a tangible, physical thing.
But you can't sit there and you can't grab it and say, "Here's music." And I can't physically wrap my hands around it and just give it to you like I can a CD. A CD is something is that physical
you
aspect.
almost can. these
Sure,
days.
I get that, but that's also the difference between being, if you're a blind person, you can hold on to something, you can't see it, but you know that it's there. If you're a deaf person, you can still write music and not be able to hear it.
But you can almost proceed like that. What you exactly said you can almost do these days, thanks to iTunes, for instance.
Legos.
Legos,
Lego my
yeah.
Legos.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, you can say, hey, share it to him, and he can listen to it.
Yeah, so so
literally, almost physically,
if we're gonna talk about
from phone to phone,
sure,
you can wham bam.
But that's just the physical media for it.
I actually
still, that's what I'm saying.
I actually
It still takes a physical element.
whether it's a cassette tape or a CD or a record or a 7-inch or you're streaming it from Spotify or Pandora, it doesn't matter. What you're hearing is the tangible thing. You can talk about its mediums, what physical source that it emanates from, but what you're hearing is the tangible outcome.
So let me, just to finish the description, because they were talking about copyright. And to Moby, it was weird that you could copyright, you're not copyrighting a CD, but you're copyrighting the sound, the vibrations in the air.
They call that
from that.
intellectual property. That's the legal term for it, yeah.
Yeah. That's what was strange to him. You have rights over something that isn't really there.
Sure. Right. Well, I mean, that delves into a very deep existential philosophical conversation, but I mean, it's the same thing when what's his name? Vanilla Ice took the beat from Queen's David Bowie's Under Pressure, and he tried to differentiate the beat from theirs. And it's just very minimal. Go ahead.
The same thing. It was when Dane Cook made a simple joke, verbal. All comedians do is verbal. Made a simple joke, but essentially stole Louis C.K.'s joke.
There's a very stark difference between comedians and how that level of copyright and that world treats people.
No, actually, there's not.
There's.
They
Let me
follow
finish
the-
my thought.
Copyright
There's a
law is
difference.
gonna
It's the
apply.
exact same law.
No,
Yeah.
but
Copyright
the community.
laws-
It's the way the community approaches it. The comedian community understands that there's a little bit of joke stealing and stuff like that going on. They get that. There's some people that get once you reach a certain.
But there's the same with music. There's a little bit. There's only.
But
you
there's
can do
legal
a riff,
cases.
but you can
the
do it slightly differently.
Sure.
The difference between music and comedians, and this is something I read a lot about, is that musicians are very specific with what they're doing. There's that's why it's weird to me. Like you have a copyright over a certain way, a certain set of like vibrations in the air,
chord progression or whatever.
Yeah.
The thing
But
is
comedians-
there are a million chord progressions that have been like top 40 pop hits, and there have been a million jokes that have all been the same, told in different ways.
Exactly.
So
I don't see it.
So in terms of artistic expression, there really almost is no originality anymore. We all beg, steal, and borrow. We all take from our influences. That's how I would put it. But I would say it's all subjective because it depends on the aesthetic preferences of the listener. But if you want to look at it from an objective standpoint, sure, you can say that songs or films or jokes are formatted in a certain way. Because that's what we have found is going to give the best return on investment, the best laugh to the punchline, or the biggest cheers to the end of the song, or whatever.
Well, see, that's where it's weird, because like certain chord progression, you can copyright that. A certain joke structure, you cannot copyright that. Like Louis C.K. has a certain way of presenting a joke, or like Mitch Hedberg has a certain way
I
of
think you
presenting
can
a joke.
copyright
That's
anything.
incorrect,
I would say so. From my experience in just like writing papers throughout the years, and my educational experience, I would say if you are going to take any words or chord progressions that go beyond like a few lines, usually it's 3 to 4 words in a paper. It's probably more than one bar or measure in a song. At that point, you're kind of breaching the intellectual property expectations of originality. So, yeah, I mean, every song has like a G chord or a C chord or a D chord, and they're very familiar, popular. Actually, Nate, I feel like you should give in on speak to this a little bit, because I feel like there are so many songs out there that have similar chord progressions, but are played in different ways or sung to different melodies that it doesn't necessarily infringe on any other artist's original works.
I think the most interesting case of copyright that I've seen in my lifetime has been that Coldplay song.
Bring Me the Horizon?
The Day I Ruled the World?
Yeah, with you too.
Well, you two said something about it?
Mm-hmm.
Because, it came out, the melody was this thing that Steve Vai played on guitar. Apparently the lyrics were also the same as these lyrics from the 1600s. There was a band from the 60s or 70s that also sued them for like a similar thing. It's just like, I was not paying attention when y'all were talking, and I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay, so I would like to go
Copyrights
over,
and
I would like to
intellectual
go
property.
over patenting an idea.
Well, with like comedians though, like you can't copyright.
It's just you and me, baby. Might as well get the fuck
With
out
like
there.
inflection, the way you say something or anything like that, you can't copyright like the way a joke.
Yes, you can.
Can you?
Can I explain that?
Yeah.
No,
seriously.
Yes, patenting an idea.
Yeah, I got an iPhone too.
I got a computer right there.
You can patent a design.
For
example, you can patent a new shape of a boat or a plane.
But how do you...
Physical objects.
Even if
Okay,
you-
so physical objects.
Even if you haven't actually built it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But do you... How...
That's
Hold on, I'll get to that. You can specifically engineer a new substance or organism.
Physical objects. Physical object.
Even if you haven't been able to create it.
How do you patent a man
you
walks
can-
into a bar?
You can patent an abstract theory. Even if it would be impossible to interact.
Abstract theory. Okay, again, stuff that has a physical sense to it.
But you can't...
Joke structure.
No.
You can't patent Once Upon a Time.
That's where it falls into. What I'm saying. That's where this falls into. So songs and jokes fall into abstract theory.
I'm talking more. My old idea. I think
here's a more substantial one. It's about computer software.
So here,
again, that's a physical thing.
since you're looking
No, it's
stuff,
actually not.
since you're looking stuff up though, And more
how is a computer thing not something physical?
more
Because
relevant
it doesn't talk about
more relevant to this conversation, and since you're on your phone anyway, can you come up with from the internet one example of a joke being copyrighted?
it. All right, I will.
All right.
So you guys
Because
continue on.
this was my fundamental disagreement with your
I'm not
comparison
saying you're
between
wrong.
musicians and comedians.
No, I-
I'm saying he's wrong. I'm going to say it right on out.
Heard it here, TV land.
One is because of how the community treats joke stealers versus how musicians
Well,
treat.
but it's very easy for Seth Rogen to go into a Carlos Mencia show with a dude and be like, "Hey, we're at a quiet thing and you're talking and you're a fucking fake." You know what I mean? Like, I can't walk into a Coldplay show and be like, 6,000 people, shut the fuck up! It's going down. I can't stand for this no more.
And it was Joe Rogan, not Seth Rogen.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck. They're both great guys.
Mhm.
Great
But
guys.
it was a different way. When you have an album,
Carlos Mencia is a bitch, by the way.
yes. When you have an album as a comedian,
Yeah.
there are certain things that will bring down that comedy record, and it's more like how the community treats you. That's not so much. It's more legal, I think, when it comes to musicians and to bands than it ever gets near any kind of comedians, because the Recording Industry Artists of America and how they get into things and stuff like that. I think there's more of a legal force, more legal justification for that than there is for anything on a comedy set.
I know with music, there has to be a certain number of points. Like, if you wrote a riff, there has to be a certain amount of points in my riff that I come out with that have to be slightly altered for it to not be copyright infringement.
Mm-hmm.
So, so it's like, how do you relate that to something else? You know, such as a joke. Like, how do I slightly change it up? And where does parody law come into it? Can't I just say, if you're like, a man walked into a bar, and I was like, a man walked into a shitty bar, you know what I mean? Like, and I told the exact same joke. Is that there different?
So what I'm reading.
Do you have one example?
Actually, it's a Jimmy Carr.
Fuck Jimmy Carr. I don't know if that is. Sure, it's a great.
British comedian.
That's fair.
It just seems more like
Take her down?
more of an
So-
Yeah,
opinion.
well, hold on.
It just seems more like an opinion, like, hey, that's way too close, that's frowned upon, but there's no way to, I don't think, legally, copyright
So
a
here's
joke,
the thing
though.
I did to not
Like, you
get
can in
sued.
music is...
Here's the thing I did to not get sued. Someone came up to me last week and complained about a joke. Quite a big bone girl. She said, "I think you're a fatist." The other comedian said, "No, I think you're a fattest." So there's one actual letter change in that. In fattest to fattest.
Okay.
So
So where's the
Fat-
copyright?
that's it.
There was an actual case with that.
Yeah. So the I changed to an E and it wasn't copyrighted.
This is. I feel stupider. I feel like that scene in Billy Madison.
Yeah.
It tells the story about the dog.
Yep. But at the same time, you put that on a T-shirt, it's automatic copyright no matter what.
Because that's a
Whether the
different
I-
thing.
But it's
That's
been-
no
it's
longer
been
that's,
printed.
that's no longer a
That's-
comedian delivering a
yeah.
stand-up. That is a physical object.
So that you're kind of right there,
I am right.
But that's the thing. You can't copyright.
kind of.
Can you copyright a slogan?
Yes. If someone else says the exact same slogan.
Because I can copyright music because I can write the sheet music down and send it in.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure you can
If
copyright
the
a
attention
slogan,
is
though.
if the attention of the crowd is for the same reason, it is copyright.
You heard it here. Everyone's been dying to know the answer.
See, we know some
Facts.
entertainment lawyers who could probably listen to this
Oh,
and tell
we're
you
gonna
how
have to-
wrong
They
you
can tell
are.
you in a second.
Yeah.
How wrong Gail Murren is.
Nope. They're gonna tell me I'm right.
If there was a movie you guys could create the soundtrack for, a la Queen Highlander, what
Queen
movie?
Highlander? I thought it was Queen Flash Gordon.
No, Queen did the entire soundtrack for Highlander and Flash Gordon too, both movies.
Hey, y'all, let's drink some alcohol. Are y'all talking Queen Flash Gordon soundtrack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I come on this
Okay.
conversation.
Oh, God.
So
I think we're
I
gonna see this.
want to know
Yeah.
what movie would you guys want to do the entire
You're
soundtrack
lush.
for?
If you
You
had to
could
do a
put in
movie-
your original songs, but what movie would you guys want to do a
Flash
soundtrack for?
No.
You want Flashdance?
Love Actually.
Mm-hmm.
Love Actually.
What you fucking looking out now? You see this movie?
Love
So-
Actually?
No.
You've
Oh,
never- it's
so-
meme-rific.
so
you ever
good.
seen,
So
you know
good.
Andrew Lincoln from Walking Dead?
I know
What's
about
that?
it.
Okay.
I'm aware of
No,
Love
really,
Actually.
Really,
Yeah,
what do
And
you
I
think?
love rom-coms. They're my favorite movies. So,
So I want you guys to pick a rom-com.
a rom-com
A rom-com.
that's already been out?
I'm going Serendipity.
Serendipity? You want some
Easy.
John Cusack?
Easy.
Cousins.
Cousins.
Is the movie a rom-com? Love for an unborn child.
You can't go wrong with that.
So
No.
It's funny.
I see you guys.
That's so hard. I really... You know what?
No.
All of my favorite 90s... All my favorite soundtracks were for 90s, like, coming-of-age kind of things like Angus.
Empire Records. Angus,
Or Empire
Angus.
Records.
Yeah.
So it would have to be something like that, focused on, like,
Reality Bites.
main characters, like, somewhere between 16 and, like, 25.
Mallrats.
So this is where I get weird.
Yeah.
I think you guys will work out perfectly for what was it? Twins?
Arnold
I already
and
said-
Danny DeVito?
I said
Arnold
Junior
and
already.
Danny DeVito.
I said Arnold and Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, I
man. Where were
definitely
you?
think Later Days is hands down a Twins band. Put that. Make sure that is in the headline.
Later Days is a twins
Later Days
band.
is a Twins band.
Mhm.
Certainly.
Have you guys seen
Yeah.
it? Yeah? Thumbs up?
I have
Peanut
not,
Gallery?
actually I have not
Twins?
seen it. I just
Yes,
I'm gonna
definitely. I
roll.
mean, they try to be.
I'm gonna bet on
They,
black.
they talk about making a
Exactly.
triplets movie with Samuel L. Jackson.
Exactly.
With Sammy L?
Yeah.
Samuel will do it. Samuel will do anything. If the price is right, Samuel will do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, he'll do it just for the fuck of it.
Hey, they're gonna make a new Twins with Eddie Murphy.
It was
Is it Eddie Murphy? I thought
Yeah.
it was Samuel L. Jackson for some reason.
No.
It's Eddie Murphy,
Different
guys.
black actors.
Update. It's Eddie Murphy.
But Eddie Murphy being in a funny movie would take a lot, because when's the last time he was funny in a movie?
Norbert, meet Dave.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Thank you. And hey, that was our conversation with the band Later Days. We're running out of time here for this podcast, so once again, I want to thank Later Days for joining us. You can find them on the Instagram, Later Days TX. Also be sure to check them out, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, Google Music. Anywhere where you can find music, you can find Later Days and their debut album, Lost in the Sound. Gail Murrin, do you have any parting words?
This was a good one.
That it was.
That was a good one.
It was got a little crazy there at the end, but you know what? I enjoyed it.
I'm gonna
Still
go do
fun
a
and
shot.
entertaining. You're gonna do one right now? Just
says Brendan.
well, since he said to do it, let's go ahead and do
Let's
it.
go do it.
We're done podcasting.
Yeah, I know.
And they're done listening. So thank you all for tuning in. If you want to go ahead and follow us, please, everywhere. We have the Instagram and Twitter handles of Jett Theory Radio. That's JETT Theory Radio. You can add a .com to the end of that if you want to visit our website. And always, we're on YouTube as well. Like our fan page on Facebook. It is where you find all information about when podcasts are being posted, what's the latest news, some funny behind-the-scenes stories, all that fun stuff. So
Pick up a shirt.
yes, we're going to have shirts for sale here soon. We'll have details posted for that. Help fund us. The logo was, both logos that we have and all logos that we have on our Facebook page were designed by one Brent Hall.
Love it, Brent.
It's awesome work. I can't, like when it was just earlier today that the t-shirts came and I looked at the first one and I just had to put it on right away. It popped. It was electric. You can just see it for yourself. I don't need to describe it to you. Go out and see that.
He had a weird moment with himself.
Oh, it was joy. And I think that'd be it for us. James, let's end this.
Jett Theory Radio.